We hear a lot about greenhouse gases these days. The carbon dioxide that we are spewing into the Earth's atmosphere from cars, power plants, and numerous other human activities is changing the Earth's climate, impacting the lives of everyone. And threatening the extinction of thousands of species of plants and animals with which we share this planet. We know there are no easy solutions to this problem. We'll need drastic changes in our lifestyles, as well as dramatic innovations in technology to reduce carbon dioxide emissions. And we must also do something about the destruction of tropical rainforests, which is responsible for approximately 17% of global carbon dioxide emissions, more than every car, truck, plane, train, and ship on the planet combined. A growing human population, pursuing ever-increasing material consumption, has created powerful economic demands for tropical timber, as well as numerous commodities that come from the same land after a forest is cut down, such as beef, rubber, palm oil, and a multitude of agricultural products. When a forest is cut, all of the carbon in that forest's vegetation moves eventually into the atmosphere. Only a small fraction of that carbon returns to the land when agriculture or livestock grazing replaces the forest. All of the alternative energy, electric cars, and energy conservation we can imagine will not have much impact on global warming unless we also stop tropical deforestation. Fortunately, ordinary farmers in a remote village in Thailand have found a solution. After almost completely destroying their forests, they found a way to save them. Their success provides lessons for all of us in a way that could impact greenhouse gases, climate change, and the fate of the planet. The story begins in the 1950s, when impoverished farmers moved to a new area of forest land recently opened for settlement in Nakhon Sawan province, about 200 kilometers north of Bangkok. The settlers cut down small areas of forest to begin farming. The soil of the newly cut forest was rich, and the crop harvests were bountiful. There were edible plants growing wild near the houses. The fish in the streams were easy to catch, and wildlife such as wild boars, elephants, and tigers roamed nearby. With such abundance at hand, and a cooperative spirit among the people, life was good. Things began to change in the 1960s when the Thai government decided to speed up the nation's economic growth. Half of Thailand's forests, fisheries, and agricultural areas were reoriented to supply overseas markets, and Thailand quickly became one of the fastest growing economies in the world. The government encouraged farmers to modernize and grow cash crops for export. It provided loans for farm equipment, hybrid seeds, chemical fertilizers, and pesticides to grow crops such as maize, rice, a fiber crop known as kanaf, and cassava, a root crop exported to Europe as animal feed. The settlers cut more forest to expand their farmland and also cashed in by selling off the timber. This initial flush of quick cash sent them on spending sprees for electronic appliances and other consumer goods. However, crop prices began to decline as many farmers grew the same products. Matters worsened when droughts came and crops started to fail. The farmers were not able to produce as much as before. They went deeper into debt, falling prey to private moneylenders charging exorbitant interest. Desperate to make good on their debts, the farmers were forced to cut even more forest to expand their fields and apply larger quantities of costly chemical fertilizers to produce as much as possible. Eventually, there were virtually no trees left on the hillsides. The soil on their fields, which had been so fertile, became eroded and hard. Rainwater just ran off. Streams on which they depended for water to irrigate their fields dried up. Crop yields declined further, and the cash that farmers received for the harvest was not covering their basic living expenses. The farmers were spending a lot on food for their families because they were not growing much for their food themselves. And for the first time, as people became so absorbed in their problems, their trust, cooperation, and sense of community began to fall apart. People had to start looking for work in the cities. Families were forced to split up, and the villagers were rapidly torn from their traditional social norms. Juvenile delinquency, previously unheard of, appeared on the scene. In less than 20 years, these people had gone from near Eden-like abundance and comfort to a dire existence typified by hunger, poverty, and social disintegration.